Hello again, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of 15 Minute Free Thinking. Today's podcast is brought to you by our sponsor, Life. It kicks your ass sometimes. It can be great, it can be frustrating, it can be overwhelming, but it can be great. How's it going, everybody? Today's topic is something near and dear to me, which is what is known in some circles as self help. I don't believe in self help. Rather, let me say, I do believe in self help. I don't believe in listening to somebody else's version of reality because that is just help. There's that old joke. If you're reading a self help book, it's not self help, it's help. But the idea is understood that it's not about self help, but rather self improvement through using others' tactics, things other people have taught us, things we've learned about how to lead a good life and how to live a happy life, which is a complicated topic. And what I wanted to really tackle here, and I want to do this in my usual format, which is straight from the heart. I have no notes here in front of me, and often I will have a list of notes or something I read from, some ideas that I want to cover. I just got off work a little early today because my boss had an appointment. I drove home and I was thinking about something I'd made the other day about videos, a video I made the other day about how important it is to us to have something in life that we work hard at, and that hard work and perseverance can make us feel good. It was along the lines of I had a long day yesterday because I've been doing framing. We're down. We had 4 guys at our workplace before. Now we're down to like just 2, my boss and I, and we're doing all the framing on this thing. And I'm not used to framing because I've been doing a lot of finish work, and got a little soft. So I woke up pretty achy this morning, but went back and we did more and came home, and it was satisfying. Feeling like you get something accomplished and you get exercise in the process, I guess, minus the factor of beating my body up. But in the big picture, I was thinking about how when I'm feeling like I'm worthy, when I'm feeling like I'm achieving or accomplishing something, I feel worthy in this world. And when I feel like I'm not doing anything, I feel like crap. And I know that this is something that I wasn't sure if it was ingrained in me and taught from my youth because I was raised to have a work ethic. When I am working, I work hard. I do my best, and I don't slack off because the boss is gone, right? I've never been that kind of guy. It's like if I'm getting paid, then I'm working. And I do my best everything I do. And it makes me feel good to know I'm doing my best. And to me, I've asked myself, is that work ethic something that is universal? Because this podcast here, rather, is about what is the best path for us as individuals to lead the happiest life. And it's impossible to know. It's absolutely impossible to know. So many people read books, watch videos, check out documentaries. They learn things about the world and themselves, and they think this is the path I want to take. Maybe I want to be a Christian or a Buddhist, religious-wise. Maybe I want to take a political left or right-leaning view. And there are people who change religions. And there are people who red or blue pill or take different political stances or have completely different ideas about what's important in life. Philosophies do change over time. So when I was younger, I was told people don't really change. Even though I kind of understood where people were coming from with that it's our core and our roots that don't change, it's not true. It's just not true. We do change, and we can change. It's just most people don't. Because most people put in absolutely no effort to improve their lives. Most people don't want to look at things deeply or really look at the facts and truth because they are so attached to the ideas that they believe that those ideas become them. And this is a very important starting point. And it's not to point fingers at anyone in particular or any particular groups, but any groups. It's the old, there's an old, I think it was, I don't recall who said it right now, but an early actor, American actor, he said, It was Groucho Marx that said it. That's right. And he said, I would not want to be a member of any group that would have me, or I wouldn't join any group that would have me as a member. And what that came down to basically was, having a group is separating yourself from other groups. And there's nothing wrong with being in a group. It's just that group it can separate itself from other groups, can separate itself from other ideas. And that makes it really complicated when it's religious, for example, and people kind of quietly behind closed doors point the finger at everybody else as being wrong. It goes nowhere. And I only mention this because it's important. When we talk about who we are and what we want out of life and how to lead the best lives for ourselves, there's only one way to figure that out, and that's to watch other people. And no matter how independent you think you are, no matter how original you think that your ideas are and that your way of life is, you're utilizing objects, topics, languages, things that were co-opted from the past that we've all passed down. We're stuck with the tools we have, right? And we can change, we can break away from that. But let me just make this clear. There are some basic values that most of us share, such as don't harm other people for no reason, right? Don't harm other people just to gain something, right? Or screw others over. But we still do it. And many people do. But most of us don't. And most of us would agree that to live a good life, one of the most important things is to treat others with respect and also treat yourself with respect. And just be a generally kind person as much as possible. But often what's left out is be able to speak up and raise hell when shit doesn't go your way, when you're, not shit doesn't go your way, don't be an entitled prick, but when you feel you've been wronged, when you feel like somebody else is wrong, it's okay to speak up. On that note, I get myself in the most trouble by disagreeing with people. That's usually how an argument ensues. But it's very rarely about them. It's usually about a topic, whether it be, music or politics or, firearms, climate change. It could be any topic that somebody brings up. And if I have a certain viewpoint on it, people want to argue about it and they don't agree. And then they get mad at me and it becomes an ad hominem attack of, oh, you're a dumbass, instead of the ideas. But why that's important is because I've learned over the years that happens. So therefore, I very rarely go in and make a bold claim without having data to back it up. But then things have changed to where data can be co-opted and corrupted, as always. But it's the same way with self-help or gurus. There are certain things that they will tell you, but you won't hear about the negative sides of these teachings. For example, people who say, think positively and just put out positive vibes to the world. And you will, receive tenfold in abundance. It's bullshit. It really is, because it might work for some people, and they're more likely to say, oh, that's because of A and B. It's correlation, not causation. What it means is if you're a positive person day to day, and you start rethinking the way that you live your life, you'll find that eventually you start to feel better just naturally. Just by the placebo effect, basically, you're convincing yourself that you're feeling better, and therefore you are feeling better. And that's really the key to happiness. But there are some underlying things that we need to discuss about things that will bring you happiness. And one of those, and I don't mean eternal happiness, right? Or, you're not going to be happy all the time. That's just I don't know, it's an illusion. But there are ways and methods to live a better life and be happier. And I'm very careful about talking about those topics, because who am I to tell anyone else what's going to work for them? And that's basically the premise of this discussion. Nobody else can tell you how to live your life. But one thing is to set boundaries. Don't put up with people's bullshit. Let people know where you stand on all things. You might think that you'll lose friends, or people will, if people are willing to dismiss you because you're letting them know how you feel and how you live your life, then fuck them, basically. But that's very difficult for people because a lot of folks are also, the next thing is people pleasers. Don't be a people pleaser, but also don't be an asshole, right? It seems so simple, but when it comes down to what we really want out of life, which is way beyond behaviors, because there are certain behaviors, of course, be a nice person, be kind to others, don't cheat, don't steal. But then there's the other side of it, the fulfillment aspect. That's what really brings us joy, knowing we're doing something worthwhile. And sometimes we know we're not doing as well as we could. I, for example, know that I could be doing a lot more, putting a lot more effort into building my guitars, right? Or because I've been working, building tiny homes, and it's been quite a distraction. And I just say, well, I worked and I come home from work and I'm tired now and I'm ready to chill. But I always have this part of me that wants to be motivated. And I think a lot of people know where I'm coming from. You got to kind of feed that fire too. The more we accomplish, the more we put out as effort into the world, it seems the happier we are. It's not about accumulation. It's not about wealth. It's not about stuff or shopping and having the best watch or the best, car or the nicest phone. It's crazy that people are even into that. I honestly think that that brings no joy. I think that it actually counters joy because there's a certain guilt aspect that people know they're wasting money and time on things that don't matter, like standing in line for a day to get an iPhone, right? The newest one, even though you have the last one. It's a weird thing to me that people are really that shallow, and or maybe ignorant in the sense of just ignoring the facts and not understanding. And it's hard to say how to live a good life without dismissing or putting down certain things that I believe lead to a bad life, and that's one of them. Consumerism. Capitalism is not the problem. It's not about money. It's not about, capital. It's about people's choices of what they buy. Sure, I mean, companies build a bunch of shit we don't need, but people consume it. And it's a vicious cycle. Instead of trying to fight against the system, just buy the things you need, but have things that you enjoy. I have a lot of stuff, but it's all old stuff. Most of it I've got secondhand at Goodwill or thrift stores or garage sales or collecting records, that kind of thing. And I try to make sure that the things that I do have I like, because things do bring me joy. It's not that you can't have stuff, and that brings me to minimalism. That's been kind of one of those self-help methods that people have given to how to live a happier life. Just get rid of everything you have and just minimalism, Sure, it's that easy. Put one chair, one couch, no pictures on the wall. I mean, people go to the extreme because they want to be happy and they want to live a productive life and live their best life so bad that they're willing to actually get rid of everything they own in their home. And then they realize, this ain't for me. Well, it was funny. I read about this movement called maximalism, I think it is. And it's like now they're saying, well, no, that's not the best. Actually, it's having a lot of stuff that you like. And I'm like, oh, well, I already do that. It just seems so, obvious. But, I guess the point I'm making here is that there's always somebody telling you the next best way to live life. There's always a new life hack. There's always a new diet. There's always a new fad, a new book. There's always some new author that's going to give you the spiritual teachings you need to live the best of your lives. And the truth is, forget all of that. Just read everything, learn everything, of course, absorb everything, but just don't lay anything down in stone. Say, well, I may believe this, but it could maybe not be true, and it doesn't really matter. If you have that attitude towards everything, then when somebody confronts you on what you may believe, you can say, well, maybe you're right. I mean, it's kind of like when you attack a politician from somebody supports, and they say, well, yeah, this guy, your guy, this guy is horrible, yada, yada, yada. And I say, I agree, they both suck. And then it's like crickets. People expect people to always take a side on issues. Sometimes we don't take sides. And I think it's not about, avoiding conflict just because you're scared to have conflict, but rather, why have conflict over things that don't really matter? Just like with religion. fighting about whose God is true, even within their own religions, their own churches, or, which page, what a translation of the Bible means. Like, folks just are naturally prone to argue their points because they want so bad to believe that what they think is true is actually true. And I may not know a lot in my life, but what I've learned is that nobody has a monopoly on what's true. So far, I've seen no convincing evidence that any one individual or group has a monopoly on the truth or really understands the full breadth and value of life and can do so in a way that's conducive to everyone's well-being. And until that happens, I guess I'll just say, live the best life you can, as best you can, within your means, your ability. Don't compare yourself to others. It's really important. Yeah, there's millionaires, billionaires, there's probably going to be trillionaires soon. Don't even think about it. Think about what you have in your own little corner of the world, then ask yourself what you want. And it's not about the fame, it's not about the wealth, but if that's something that moves you, then go for it. Get it. There are ways to do that, but let's just say a lot of these desires can backfire. And I think that the biggest thing we can desire in life is a contented feeling of comfort, acceptance. For me, it's family and friends. I like having people in my life that I care about and that care about me. But I'm also a little rough around the edges, and I'm still working on myself, my personality, and every day is a new challenge. And I have rough spots, and I want to improve, and I think that's what life's all about. So as long as we acknowledge we're always improving, we don't have to beat ourselves up over what we think we should have been, or because we weren't a millionaire by the time we were 30, or because we didn't have a family, or we never had kids, or we did have kids, or we, don't like our job. I mean, we can change these things. And that goes back to the beginning. As I said, nothing's set in stone. People do change. Neuroplasticity is well known. Your mind can change. You can become anything. If a person can become completely nuts and go schizophrenic, like that, I mean, if you've ever seen psychosis, it happens quick. The brain can change in many ways. You can, what Pavlov's dog, I believe it was, where they rang a bell for food and realized even he'd ring a bell and the dog would come even if there was no food. Seems pretty obvious now, but it's conditioning. We're all socially conditioned, and we can all socially condition our ways out of the bullshit that doesn't help us and benefit us. Be as educated as you can, learn as much as you can, and never ever be afraid to learn about something because you may be afraid that it teaches you something that goes against what you already believe. Because ultimately, that's the only way we improve, is to counter our old bullshit. Otherwise, we'd still be waiting for the tooth fairy when our teeth rot out and we're adults. I'll talk to y'all later. If you want to check out the podcast version, it is 15-minute free thinking on all podcast platforms. If you're already listening to that and you want to see the video version, that's on YouTube, Carpo719. And I appreciate you all. I want to say thank you to all my patrons and my few new patrons as well. I will be holding a drawing of some sort hopefully soon on the Patreon thing. I want to give back to y'all, and thanks for being here. And I hope that people can find their own truth. The reason I make this video here is because I just hear so many, especially young men, who are just lost and really feel like they want to accomplish something in life, or they're down on themselves. Look, we all get down on ourselves, but it's important to realize it's okay. We can pull ourselves out of it, feel confident again, and move forward. So peace and love, and I'll talk to you next time. Take care.